Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to another episode of
the Happy Hippie Podcast.
I'm your host, Kylie Iris, and Valentine's Day was a few weeks back, and it got me thinking about the topic of love. The truth can be bittersweet, but the truth is our soul came to this earth alone, and we will also leave this earth alone. And the number one most important relationship you will ever have in your lifetime is the relationship with yourself. So we hear all about self-love. Everybody talks about self-love, but what does it really mean to love yourself? We're going to deep dive on self-love today. But before we get into this, I just need to rant really quickly. I just don't understand how people go on a coffee date with their friends. They'll get coffee with their friends. They'll go to the mall. They'll go to yoga class. They'll just go about their day. I just drank half a cup of coffee and I'm on the verge of shitting my pants right now. And is that too much information? Maybe. Sometimes I like to overshare on the podcast. I need to tone down my caffeine consumption. Lately, I've been going a little haywire with it, and I've noticed it's made me feel sluggish. Caffeine does give the illusion of an increased boost of energy, but I find myself feeling quite sluggish the next day, almost like there's a caffeine crash. That's my thoughts of the day. Let's get into today's episode. I feel like recently I just came out of a little bit of a rut. And we're all humans. It is totally normal and okay to feel down sometimes. It's not about what happens to you that determines who you are, but it's kind of like the steps you take moving forward. How are you going to alchemize the pain of whatever it is that you've been through to propel you forward to living your best life? It's being that modern day alchemist, metaphorically taking lead and turning it into gold. It's taking your failures and your past resentments and guilt and alchemizing that energy to become the best version of yourself. I find it quite interesting how we are not taught how to love ourselves. In fact, society quite perpetuates the exact opposite. Society was almost programmed and designed for us to compare ourselves to others. They're breeding a comparison playing ground. Fear, greed, these kinds of low vibrational frequencies are just holding ourselves and the earth back. The best version of yourself is waiting around the corner, and self-love truly is the gateway to entering the highest version of you. And what is the highest version of you? We talk about consciousness and the levels of depth that this goes to, but in reality, the highest frequency that exists on this third dimensional reality is love. We're going through a huge energetic war in this world right now between fear and love. And I think self-love is really that gateway and that portal entrance to where you stand behind. Do you want to be the person that is saving this earth, or do you want to be the person that is destroying this earth? Everything is love. I am love. You are love. On a universal consciousness perspective, we are all one. And that is universal consciousness. That is love. That's source. That's the highest frequency to exist. And becoming the best version of ourselves is really learning to level up our self-love to align us to become the highest version of ourselves. I also feel like society really programs this competitiveness within each other. I've met people from all different walks of life, and there seems to be this ongoing competition between one another. It's like nobody's quite ever happy with where they are. They always feel the need to compete to get to the next step. But you see, there's actually no such thing as competition. You're programmed to compete, and if you were the best, you wouldn't be competing. I find people get consumed and distracted like a rat race, okay? It's like a hamster on a wheel. They're day in and day out running and going and going and going, and they think they're going somewhere, but they're actually in the exact same spot. So let's loop this back to self-love. I personally believe that self-discipline is self-love. Self-discipline is keeping your own commitments. It's the promises that you make to yourself to better your life, whether that's persisting and sticking to good habits, setting and hitting particular goals. This kind of will look different for everybody. Now, hear me out, okay? There's going to be moments in your life where you set a goal for yourself. I want to do blank. I'm committing to blank good habit, okay? And then it falls apart. You skip a day, something goes wrong along the way. And there's two types of people. There's the person that keeps going, okay, and persists through. And then there's the person who lets the guilt and the shame of whatever it is from their past overwhelm them and consume them and bog them down to the point where they sit in it, they sulk in it, they're drowning in it. And that's when it loops back to kind of what I was talking about in the beginning with, it's not necessarily with what happens to you in life that matters, but it's how you react to what happens to you that determines the next thing that's going to come. Let me use an example here. Suppose you wanted to quit drinking and then you slip up and you have a drink with your friends. You can either like cry in self-pity at how disappointed you are in yourself and like sulk in that, or you can be like, you know what, I'm a human. I had a bad day, but I'm not going to let the past determine who I choose to be in this present moment. And it's kind of rewriting your story. It's being able to love yourself enough to pick yourself up when you're down in the slumps. I talk a lot about energy on this channel, and self-love really is the most powerful energy. And when you start pouring and pouring and pouring into yourself, I feel like that's when you vibrationally become a match for the things you want to manifest in this lifetime. Because believe it or not, a lot of people in this world don't love themselves. In fact, we're going through a self-love epidemic, a crisis. Because people are jumping off of buildings, going through mental struggles is like hell on earth, and people are drowning in their own thoughts. So you can either use your brain to be your biggest asset or your biggest downfall. And self-discipline is the path to self-love. Stay committed to the goals you set out to do. Don't participate in good habits and set goals for other people around you, your family, your friends. Like, hell no. Okay? Create these goals and stick to positive, healthy habits for yourself. Everything breaks down into the three, right? The mind, body, and spirit. Self-love is pouring into these three categories. You know that old saying, like, oh, you are what you eat? In today's world, it really is you are what you consume. We're living in a digital era in which every form of information from left to right and everything in between is accessed at the tips of our fingers. What are you going to spend your precious time here on earth consuming? Are you going to scroll and scroll and scroll and consume bullshit? Remember, everybody, where attention goes, energy flows. If you're just constantly using your attention span on bullshit, your reality will probably be bullshit. Listen to podcasts, read books, consume knowledge that fills your soul. What do you like to learn about? What random topics, information do you want to accumulate in this lifetime? Put that pretty little brain of yours to use. A lot of people ask me how to get out of depressive slumps, and 9 times out of 10 when I talk to them and ask them about their physical activity, they'll say there is none. Physical movement for your body is so important. And I'm not saying you got to do some crazy weight training 7 days a week at the gym grind. Like, no, you don't have to do that. Even if it's just some days waking up and stretching your body, doing some yoga, getting your body moving really helps that stagnant energy within us get transmuted out. We talk about the chakra systems and all the different energy points within our body, especially trauma is stored in our root chakra, right? Which is why a lot of people have lower back pain, and that's kind of where that stems from. Doing yoga and breathing exercises can help really transmute stale energy stuck in your body. Even if it's from childhood trauma from 15 years ago, trauma can stay in the body for so long. Keeping the body physically active is so important, and it really is the best medicine you could give yourself. And then lastly, we have health, right? Your body's a temple. What kind of foods are you consuming? Aww. You're feeling tired every single day and you don't have enough energy to do anything? Okay, are you eating bags and bags of chips and processed food? Are you drinking pop with half a pound of sugar in a single can? Like, you have to understand the Matrix has almost designed society to take away your energy. Whether it's through food, media, music, frequencies in music, whatever rabbit hole you want to choose, okay? Society has been designed to take away our energy, and self-love, in my opinion, is learning how to fuel your own energy and replenish yourself. And that really is aligning your mind, body, and spirit to become the best version of you. Self-love is also learning how to rewrite the past stories in your head from people who told you that you weren't good enough, from the people who told you you didn't deserve love, whoever said something to hurt your feelings. Those are memories from the past. Living in the past, in my personal opinion, can be equivalent to like a state of hell on earth. If you were like consumed with guilt from your past, reliving in your head over and over again, all that's doing is taking you away from the present moment. And the present moment is the only moment in which time is real. I feel like I'm at a very peaceful state emotionally, and I wasn't always here. I feel like I, in the past, was in more turbulent emotional states in my life, and it took a lot of dedication to get to this point of tranquility. But what I'd like to call this sensation, this level of peace, is unconditional love. Loving yourself unconditionally will be the absolute best thing that has ever happened to you in your life. Why? Because I'm my best friend. I'm my mom. I'm my dad. I can fit every single rule anyone else could ever fit for me times 10 for myself. I love myself so much to the point where nobody can hurt me. Freedom. Mental freedom is obtained by rewiring those negative subconscious thought patterns that have been enslaving your brain. This isn't obviously something that is done overnight, but this is something that in the grand scheme of your life will have such a profound effect on where you're gonna wish you started sooner. So let's talk about it. How do we do this? How do we rewire negative subconscious thought patterns? It's literally a matter of like programming and constantly instilling positivity into your psyche. It's really learning to have that glass half full perspective on life. For example, you're going about your day, doing through life, and you have that negative little thought inside your head that tells you you're not good enough. Instead of just like thinking that thought and feeling down and going about your day, you're going to essentially override that negative thought with a positive one and make it so loud. Even if you don't believe it, think it so freaking loud that it will eventually quiet out those dark thoughts and overrule the fear with love. When you have a thought that's like, I'm not good enough, telling yourself, I'm so good enough, I am more than capable of being the best. Over a long period of time, these tiny shifts make the most significant ripple effects on both your life and the universe, because we're all connected, right? We talk about energy on this channel, like universal consciousness is oneness. Also, random side note, I've recently been listening to so much affirmation music, like songs that sing affirmations. I find it's a lot more fun singing a song than like looking in the mirror and saying, I am blank. Like, it's funner for me to sing it. I've been listening to a lot of affirmation songs recently, and I just want to quickly touch on music because we talk about vibrations and frequency, right? There's a lot of frequency in music that promotes different kinds of cognitive behaviors. I would advise you to kind of like stay away from the music that just makes you feel sad. Don't intentionally listen to that kind of music. It's literally created to lower your vibration. So yeah, I just want to advise my listeners to be conscious of the kind of music they're listening to, because words subconsciously do manifest over time, and these famous Hollywood elites don't necessarily have the best intentions for humanity. I don't know if that's too woo-woo for some people, but it's definitely the truth. The gigahertz in music is a subliminal mind control game. Self-love, I think, is also being conscious of what you consume on the internet, what you consume musically, what you consume within your body, right? It goes across the whole board. Journaling is also like just such a great way to sit with yourself and analyze your thoughts. Well, it's kind of similar. Like if you had a friend just absolutely going through it, you kind of sit there and have a conversation with them. I feel like journaling is kind of sitting there and choosing to have a conversation with yourself. Journaling is like free therapy, okay? And I feel like journaling is definitely a form of self-love. Yeah, if you don't really know which direction to take journaling, I highly suggest just searching up self-love journaling prompts. Literally whatever situation you're going through and trying to overcome, just journaling prompts on that topic might really help you find a starting point on where to start writing, because sometimes that can be overwhelming. It's just starting. Use this as your sign to start journaling if you haven't yet already. And your future self will literally thank you. When you're an old ass grandma crippling away and you're bored and have absolutely nothing to do, you don't think it's going to be cool to like read journals of you when you were younger and like look back on your life? Like, keep up with your journal. Talk to your journal like it's your best friend. I'm telling you, it is the ultimate form of free therapy. Loving yourself is raising your vibration. Like I was saying before, we are all connected. Everyone and everything in this third dimensional reality is connected. We are all connected. So what does this mean? Essentially, that means you matter. The person listening to this episode right now, you freaking matter. You consciously choosing to walk down the path of becoming your highest self is choosing to love yourself so unconditionally, choosing to become in peak physical, emotional, and mental health, not only for yourself and your duration here on earth, but for the greater good of humanity as a whole. Together, we can raise the vibrations in the collective consciousness and leave a positive, everlasting ripple effect here on Earth instead of a negative one. There is a lot of evil in this world, but I believe together, as we awaken, the collective consciousness will slowly but surely return to a state of love instead of fear. So choose self-love to join the journey of the positivity on Earth, because we are living at a time where we need that now more than absolutely ever. So choose team love, because love is stronger than fear. Breaking one bad habit at a time, whether that's a physical habit, a mental habit, a toxic thought pattern, whatever it is for you. Breaking that generational karma within your family line to rewrite the story for future generations to come. Because it's really our generation that's going to make the impact here on Earth. And I get it. At some point, you might feel insignificant. Kylie, what's the point of me changing one bad habit? How the hell will that have a ripple effect on the entire world? Well, believe it or not, it does. We are all connected. There's so much more to this world beyond what we can physically see and touch. It's the world of energy. And we are shifting the energy here on Earth. We are transitioning into the new Earth. And there's almost like this divide between light and dark. I'm trying to preach self-love as much as I can to let the light overrule, because love is stronger than fear. And together, we will save this Earth. You know what self-love is? Self-love is choosing to become a happy hippie. Okay? It's living your best freaking life because you deserve it. And I also just want to sit here and say thank you. Thank you for choosing to love yourself when maybe other people couldn't or didn't know how to. Just remember that other people can only love you as deeply as they love themselves. So if anybody has ever mistreated you, just understand that is a further reflection of themselves than it ever was you. Because the people who deeply love themselves will not project pain, fear, and greed into this world, but love, light, and peace. And that is all I ever preach here on this channel, and all I ever hope to give to the world. So thank you for being you and a beacon of positivity and love and light in a world full of darkness. Continue to shine like that beautiful, bright star you were born to be. I freaking love you if no one's ever told you that. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye for now.